enjoy the session. Good luck. Now, let me call upon the session in charge for the first session. Dr. Jyoti Singh and Dr. Rizwana. Ma'am, can you take over?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I request you to welcome the guest of the day for the first session.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. A very good evening to all of you. I, Dr. Jyoti, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, RIT, and my colleague, Dr. Rizwana, Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies, RIT, are host of today's session. I take it a privilege to introduce our keynote speaker of the MDP, Dr. Sudhindra Tirtha Kaushik. Dr. Kaushik is a chief innovator and co-founder Prasu, an innovation consulting company. He is a vice president of IEEE Bangalore chapter. Dr. Kaushik is a TEDx speaker, visiting faculty at NID, Ahmedabad and Bangalore. He is also the advisor of the incubator IMAX, IEEET, Bangalore. Apart from this, Dr. Kaushik is an editor of Leader magazine IEEE TEMS. As a chief innovator, Mr. Kaushik advises major companies like Bosch, Continental, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, etc. on innovation strategy and developing innovation culture. Mr. Kaushik works with startups and incubation centers and accelerators in and connects industry and startups. Mr. Kaushik also links academia and industry through workshops and technical talks on innovation. Mr. Kaushik has also developed syllabus for academia in innovation and entrepreneurship to enhance employability. Mr. Kaushik is a leadership coach helping technical people transition from task-focused roles to task plus people-oriented roles. Kaushik has received several awards and recognition including Karnataka Government Innovation Council Award, HCL Award for Excellence, Sir M. Vishweshwaraya Award, World Innovation Congress Innovation Excellence Award, EEE MGA Achievement Award. Sir is passionate and practicing innovator and technology professional throughout his career of 26 years with more than 20 national and international patents in various stages. Sir writes articles for leading magazines and newspapers. He's also a cartoonist, sportsman, TV and movie artist, stand-up comedian, among other things. Sir, it's a privilege to have you with us, sir. Welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Mr. Ravindra. Thank you, Mr. Satish. So it's a special connection with MSRIT. So I've been there regularly, but this year it has been not physically though. Yeah, but I'm sure this is a very nicely knitted program. When Dr. Jyoti called me, I could understand the good intention behind this program. And I can see a lot of participants. The famous number I'm seeing is now 111, the number of participants who have joined. The reason I think, like Dr. Satish said, is important. Sorry? I think the way these changes are happening, it's not only the way of living that will change, but I think the way that the technology will connect to us. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how technology, innovation, and business are connected. And more importantly, what role you and me can have in this. So I'm going to use slides to share my thoughts today. And we can have some questions if you need at the end of this session. So you can keep dropping them in the Q&A, assume, Jyoti, so that we could collect them towards the end. So if you can enable me to share slides, I will.
Yes, sir. You can do it, sir, now.
It says host disabled. Let me try again. Yeah. It says the host has disabled screen sharing. Now I can. Thank you. So you're able to see my screen, I suppose?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will skip this part, except that I want to tell that my LinkedIn is at the top. If anybody of you want to connect with me over LinkedIn, you can just type my name, Sudhindra Kaushik. You will get that. What we do at Prasu is to work with three very different kinds of parts of our industry, academia, and startups. And they're very different because their focus and their reason to exist are also very different. While 60 to 70% of our time goes with industry, like Jyoti said, we also work with academia. I'm academic council member of a couple of engineering and management colleges. We help them devise syllabus and try to be on par with industry. It's a big challenge in India. We are trying to do our best. And startups is the other place where we work closely because it becomes a new fountain of ideas to be implemented in the industry. So some of these companies whom we work with, and I'm going to share my learnings from some and more of these companies. And like you see, I always said that Rame also has a special connection, and some of the professional bodies like SA India or Founders Institute and so on. So I'm going to share all those things and learnings in today's session. So the key words today are business, entrepreneurship, and innovation. It can be seen in many ways. Intrapreneurship is another word which I'm sure many of you would be aware of. Innovation is a link to intrapreneurship if it is done in a company. Innovation is linked to entrepreneurship if it is done in a startup. So, but every business, okay, it's given a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, as some of you might know it. So if you don't know, please look it up. It's called Sustainable Development Goals. And number 9 is related to innovation. So every company needs innovation because without which the company can disappear. And I'm sure if I say that it is not an exaggeration, you would have seen a Nokia disappear in front of you. Okay, forget about Kodak. Maybe you and me didn't see it happen in front of us. You and me have seen a BlackBerry disappear in front of us. So this is not a very exaggerated melodramatic thing that businesses need innovation. It's a reality. Businesses use innovation through new products, new services, maybe new processes, new models. We'll talk about that a little bit more, also the patents and IP, to make revenue for their shareholders and stakeholders. Today, companies are moving up the value by saying it's not for their only shareholders, but it's also for their stakeholders. Stakeholders are much more than shareholders. They are people like you and me, they're the community, the society, the government, everybody involved. Now, technology and value is a key thing. Like I said, today's focus is on technology. We have a misplaced understanding of technology and value. We think they are the same, and they are not the same. Technology is very different than value. Okay. When you look at technology and value, we need to understand the concept of end in mind. So what is end in mind? So suppose I come up with a new technology, a new knowledge of how to do something. Okay. It could be simply a blockchain. It could be 5G. It could be any technology. Now, unless I have a business which uses the technology, a way the business develops the technology to be applied in its real world, there is no benefit of the new knowledge. And if that does not benefit humanity, there will be no customers. Please understand, how much ever you advertise a product or a service, if it is not beneficial to somebody in humanity, you and me, which is basically you and me, go and buy this, there will be no business that can sustain. There are many, many products which have no real value, but have been advertised and they sustain for let's say, artificial respiration, so to say, and it died its own death. So the end in mind means any technology, any new technology from the left should have a benefit to humanity on the right. And what connects these two is the business, which applies this technology for humanity. Let me give you an example. A carbon composite is a kind of material. Some of you might know it. It's a material which is very light, lighter than aluminum, but stronger than aluminum and steel in many, many aspects. So when this new technology came, new material came, if there was no end in mind, it would just disappear. Because many research theses go into the library and get dusted there. I even make a joke that today we don't even have dusting on thesis because there is no physical copy. Only VTU asks for it. Nobody else wants a physical copy anymore. So you need to put it in some digital library, and it becomes even more obscure. Nobody can find it except you. But when the carbon composite came, the business application was it can be used to reduce weight of products. Okay, so if you use this material instead of another material, say steel or aluminum, then you could reduce the weight of that product. Now, why would you reduce the weight of the product? How does it benefit humanity? Now, that's where the beauty comes. I hope all of you have heard about Dreamliner aircraft. So that was the end in mind. So when an aircraft was made, which uses basically aluminum, this material replaced close to 85% of that weight of the body of the aircraft is made from aluminum, and that reduced the weight, which saved fuel for the flying the same distance by this new aircraft, Dreamliner. And that saves carbon footprint, and that saves the earth, and hence it's beneficial to humanity. And it also helps take more people because the weight of the flight itself is reduced now. So for the same fuel, if you maintain the weight, I can carry more people now. So you have to have end in mind for any technology that we need to come up with. And this we need to instill in our researchers too, that without an end in mind, and that end should benefit humanity. The end is not a report. The end is not a thesis, hardbound or softbound thesis. The end is how does it benefit humanity? Then the technology can be useful, right? Now, let us understand how the industry thinks about this. So a company makes a solution. So a Boeing makes an airplane. Okay, a VIP or an American Tourister makes a bag. That's the solution this company makes. And they come up with new products and new services, and they sell it to customers like you and me. We buy a new toothbrush because it is having a tongue cleaner on it. You buy a new toothpaste because it has salt in it. The same company was telling, by the way, salt was bad, but now they sell the salt is good. That's another story. Now they say you should have charcoal in it, which we used to use when we were kids, the charcoal powder with salt. So companies make solutions for you and me as customers to buy, and they always look for new customers by supplying new products and services. So how does the loop complete? The loop completes because these customers will look at having some problem. Okay, you all are familiar with Uber, I'm sure. Before the lockdown, we were using it extensively. What is the problem with Uber? Uber does not let you book a ride if you do not have network or if you don't have a charge on your mobile. Well, Ola has a solution to that called offline booking. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Customers always find problems. Okay, and for that problem, the company finds a solution and the loop gets complete. So company looks for solutions for which the customer is willing to pay because he has a problem with something, and the innovation and technology application continues. So this is how the loop runs in general. Now, if there is any industry which does not have a customer, so asbestos sheet, if you remember, it is banned in many countries. There is no such company who makes solution as an asbestos sheet because the customer has a huge problem with the toxicity of that material. Now, research problem can be taken by your and my students as researchers, where the researcher solves this problem of the customer, which is beneficial to the company as well. We should encourage the technology perspective to be taken right in the front when the research problem is itself defined. Now, how can they sustain? So customers want solution, companies give solution, companies need innovation, because customer is wanting to have a new product or a new service. So if you look at the same way how the business runs, so it is looking at innovation through technology, not technology itself. Now, how does this map to technology discussion is, technology is not sufficient condition. Technology is not at all a sufficient condition, but for a successful business, but the benefits of technology can be. So blockchain as a technology is not necessarily useful. You don't care. Your mother doesn't care if she goes to sub-register office, whether they use blockchain or something else, right? Neither you and me do. There could be many applications which could be useful, okay? How to end government corruption, how to connect music royalty. If you run a YouTube, just try this experiment. Make a YouTube video with some known music, some film music, and upload it. Within a few hours, you will get a notice from YouTube saying your music violates a copyright violation. Okay, so those are the benefits. The applications of a technology is what we need to focus on. Same with Internet of Things. The technology itself is not going to help. I mean, people tell you this kind of technology saying what it can do. The point is not what it can do. What it can do is how useful it is to me, right? You can change color of a light. Yeah, fine. So what do I do with it? I buy it and I play it for a day and two, and then I'm bored and I leave it alone. I'd even forget where the remote is for that, right? So the benefits of technology comes when the application is there. In one of my jobs, I don't know how many of you know this product. This is an induction stove, okay? Now I'm talking about technology and application of technology, right? So if IoT is a technology, I don't care. My mother doesn't care. She's very smart, but she uses Facebook, everything, but she doesn't care what technology it's called, IoT or blockchain. But when I give her an application of technology where I say, in this induction cooker, you can set the number of whistles on a pressure cooker which you keep on it. So you take this induction cooker, you put a pressure cooker, and you decide how many whistles it should blow before it should switch off. Today, you and me have to do this manually. And usually, except today being Bhiman Amavasya, every wife tells the husband, you should listen to the whistles and then switch off. Today is exception because it's your day. But otherwise, all the husbands in the house have to keep counting and they forget. They watch TV, they read paper, they do something on the phone, they forget. Now the 3 whistles become 5 and it starts to burn and the food gets damaged, and then only everybody knows it is more than 3. But you still don't know how many. But with this IoT technology, you can set 1, 2, 3, up to 15 whistles. And after so many whistles, suppose if you set 4 whistles, the induction cooker will measure 4 whistles and then switch off by itself. Now, this is what people will pay for. When we introduced this a couple of years ago, the marketing team told me, sir, induction cooker itself is like 2,500, 3,000. How can you ask 400 rupees, 500 rupees more for this feature? I said, it's not about 300 rupees or 500 rupees more for the feature. It's how it helps the people in their daily life. And to your surprise, 1 year's of sales estimate was done in 1 month because people found value of technology. But if you're told it's IoT technology, nobody cares. But if you say it'll automatically switch off after counting the whistles, the people will care because that's how it helps them. So this is a real case story of how you can bring technology and the benefits of technology and more than the technology. And that's where it's important to realize that technology is not sufficient. Do you know what technology is used for your battery in your phone? It doesn't matter. Do you know the formula for crocin? It doesn't matter. Because what matters to you that if you take crocin, your fever goes off. If you take crocin, if you take Dolo, your fever goes off, your cold goes away, your body ache goes away. So technology is not sufficient for a successful business. Benefits of technology can be. Please underline this word and ask this tough question whenever you have this discussion. Don't give a damn what is the technology. Please focus on what the benefit of the technology can be. Now, how should research be linked to this? There is a very nice example by Dr. Nicholson of 3M. Research converts money into knowledge. Research converts money on the left side into knowledge, and innovation converts knowledge into money. Now, this is a beautiful way for you to understand what are you dealing with, okay? It is not that because many people confuse research and innovation. R&D is not the same thing. So how does it connect with business? If research converts money into knowledge, it has to get money from somewhere, we'll come to that. Innovation converts that knowledge into money. So knowledge from research was carbon composite in the previous example. Innovation was Dreamliner. The business that did was it made numerous applications of Dreamliners and took people across the globe faster, better, cheaper. Now from that, if you notice the bigger bag of money, the business converts a smaller bag of money into a potential into real money, bigger bag of money, a piece of that money comes back to research funding, and hence the loop continues. You create new knowledge. So this is how actually research, innovation, and knowledge. So one level more of where technology plays a role. Neither of these three pieces can operate separately. Research cannot operate because it needs money, and that comes from business. Business cannot keep making more money because it needs new products, and that comes from innovation. Innovation cannot create new products because it needs new knowledge, and that's come from research. So if you remember this loop, you will understand a lot of things between connection between research, or let's say technology, and business. So innovation, what is innovation? So simply put it, innovation is developing something new and that is useful. Now, developing something new is easy. You can just make a shirt, the dress you are wearing. So maybe Jyoti Singh will have one sleeve taken off her dress, but that is new, but that is not useful. So people pay for something useful. So if I make a shirt with one sleeve, it is new, but it is not useful. But people should pay for something that is new and useful. And that's where innovation and entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship is connected. While innovation makes something new, entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship makes sure that it is of use to someone. Why it is of use? You don't buy a toothpaste, as simple as a toothpaste, because somebody made toothpaste. Please understand what I'm saying. You walk into a superstore. You see, I counted 28 kinds of toothpaste. Which one do you buy and why do you buy? Do you buy toothpaste because somebody is making toothpaste, or do you buy toothpaste because it's useful to you? You buy toothpaste, and even that particular one because you find that particular one useful to you. And that's where you should be focusing on. Now, if innovation is put into an opportunity and a solution mode, which is new and useful, you get a connection between all of them. Now, that's where business is led by innovation, which is led by technology. So technology creates something useful and new, and that becomes innovation, which is solving a problem. But that is not enough. I talked about the toothpaste example. When you and me go to buy a toothpaste, we buy a particular brand because there is a company who is making toothpaste. And there are many companies, and many companies have many brands. One has salt, one has charcoal, one has neither, one has aloe vera, because now aloe vera is the new trend. Everything that we have should have aloe vera, hair, toothpaste, shampoo, you name it, right? It is yet to come to dress, but it will come soon. Now, why do you buy a particular one? If you like aloe vera, you will buy aloe vera. If you like something specific in a product, you will buy that. So what do you give when you buy toothpaste in a superstore is money. When you buy toothpaste at the counter, you give money through a credit card or cash. What does the company give you? Don't say toothpaste, it gives you value through a toothpaste. It gives you a value to a shampoo. It gives you value through a chips packet, to a biscuit packet, whatever you are buying. It gives you value for your money. And the value can be through a product, through a service, which is realized using a technology. But when they meet, it meets what you want. There are 27 other products which you didn't buy. And you bought this because it meets your condition for value for money. That's where there are phones at 3,000, there are phones at 1 lakh. There are cars at 2 lakhs, there are cars at 40, 60, 70, 80 lakhs, a crore. Because it depends what you want for the money that you want to spend on it, right? Now the value comes from reorganizing the three things into a bucket. If something is new and solves a problem and it is useful to me, then it becomes valuable to me. So I buy stuff because, for example, if I buy Patanjali coconut oil, I find it is new because it is pure to me, because all the other brands I feel it is still having some amount of chemical, and it solves my problem because I need pure, because my skin gets irritated, and it is useful because it is very, very healthy and it's very clean. Okay. Now I'll show you a video. I hope you can hear the audio as well. I want you to check the video and tell me how valuable it is to you. Okay. So when somebody is living in a ranch in the US, it's a big, so their farmlands are in hectares, not acres. Their place where they are and place where their house is could be kilometers away. So if they just want to, relax and not, there won't be stool, table, etc. in the middle of their farmland. So this comes in handy for such people, right? I don't know how many of you found useful. Probably it's about 2,000 rupees to do this, but it's not 2,000 rupees that's important. For these people, the value. When you're hungry, the most valuable thing is food, not money. When you're thirsty, the most valuable thing is water, not money, right? Now, this is another product, very different product, and listen to him and observe what he does and think for yourself whether even if it is given free, whether you want it or whether you are willing to pay for it.
So the button-up collar stay is a dual-purpose collar stay with a button hook on one end. This helps you fasten the small, frustrating buttons on your dress shirts. Also stores up in your collar to keep it sharp, keep it from curling. So you can go that first troublesome button, probably going to be on your cuff. You're going to hook it with the button-up collar stays. You use the tip to guide and draw the two pieces of material together. You can push it through, or you can give it a little spin, and it pops the button right through. Next one could be this top button of your dress shirt. So you can hook the button up to the button. You can use the tip to guide, draw the two pieces of material together, and you can just pop through, give it a little spin. You just buttoned your own button with no frustration, no asking for help. You store it back up in your dress shirt collar to keep it looking sharp, close to hand for the rest of the day.
So just tell yourself how many of you would like to buy this one. Like I said, maybe even if it is given free, would you use it? Now, everything which sustains in the market has somebody who finds it useful. If there are enough number of people who find it useful, that product or service will sustain. Now, talking about technology, way back even in the black and white time, Charlie Chaplin showed a technology. The context of this was when the Industrial Revolution was at its peak, the talk was about productivity. So being management domain, we will talk about productivity any point of time, right? So productivity was how much work can be done in a day. Now, one of the variables they took was one of the time periods in a day's work in a factory was lunch hour. So some management consultant came up with the brilliant idea that why don't we reduce the lunch time? And that's what this guy in the video is trying to show to the owner of the company. So the management guide says this is not practical. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is technology, many times people think it's automating. So automating something is technology. No, not necessary. And especially it can backfire if you automate the wrong thing. The people, the time they spend during lunch hour, it rejuvenates them. They refresh themselves. So you are actually hitting on productivity harder than improving them if you do this. So when you look at technology, always look at the benefits of technology, not the technology itself. And I always tell the example of my mother again, that if I tell her this phone has Gorilla Glass technology, she doesn't care, because she is from Mysore. She may know that how a gorilla looks like, but she has no interest in gorilla technology. But if I say, if you drop your phone, it won't break that easily, the screen. That is the benefit of technology that she is interested in. So that's where you need to understand the difference between the two. That makes users adoption very critical, because the adoption of users is very simple. How long it takes, okay? So there are different lines here. So one is about telephone, one is about radio, one is about color TV, and so on. If you see, internet took a few years to go to 1 million users, and or 90% adoption, 80% adoption, while a telephone and a car took forever. So different technologies get adopted by users in different amounts of time. If you look at how the first million to reach COVID, now it is in days, not in 70s of days, right? It is in 3 days, 2 days, 2.5 days. So adoption itself is a big thing. Now, when that becomes critical is to apply technology is contextual understanding. Contextual understanding is the new intelligence. It is not data science that is a new intelligence. It is a contextual understanding that is a new intelligence. You need to be aware of the situation, the circumstances of your customers, which will make the benefits of technology. What is a benefit to one may not be a benefit to another. If you look at the button, collar button thing, it doesn't matter for you and me maybe, but if somebody who has a flimsy hands and maybe they are old, maybe it helps, I don't know. But the understanding of that context is more relevant than not. Now, if you look at it that way, what is the problem we should solve is not the point. Why should we solve that problem, which makes it the valuable opportunity, and how do we solve that problem makes it relevant to solve or use a technology in business, because that brings value to the customer. Okay, so that brings value to the customer, and that depends on how and which problem you're trying to solve. And that's the whole point of using technologies. For whom are we solving it, and why are we solving it? Not just applying technology for the sake of applying technology. And that also adds up to one of the IBM studies and other studies which did in, for example, even in Bangalore, the top reasons, I said we work with startups also, the top reason why a startup fails is because they build something nobody wants. I hope you're able to understand what this sentence means. There are a lot, it's, 95% of the startups fail. Yeah, you heard me right, 95% of I'm talking about just Bangalore. And the trend globally is the same, 90-95% in that range. Startups fail. Even in Canada, I was talking to somebody in Canada 2-3 days ago, and he was saying the same thing. 90% of the startups don't make it because usually they don't have the perfect understanding of the context for whatever reason, and they build something nobody wants, right? And that's where they lose focus. That's reason number 2. And then they don't know where to ask for help. If you're going in the wrong way, it doesn't matter whom you ask, because you're not telling them where you want to go. Right? The rule, the concept here for you and me is to remember that it is not that we cannot find the solution, it is we cannot see the problem, the actual problem for which we should find a solution, which should be new and useful. And this is where I think most of us get the technology wrong. Okay? Getting the wrong technology is like having operation success and patient died. Yes, you use the technology, but there is no benefit. We ran a blockchain hackathon for Karnataka State Police, I think last year beginning. The whole idea was to how does it help them to solve issues with respect to data, with respect to communication of information, etc. So the application is the key, right? So you need to ask two things: why and so what. Why am I doing this? Why should this problem be solved? Why is it a problem? Why will this solution work? And etc. etc. So what if there is a problem? There are so many problems. We can live with some. Maybe the button problem, you and me, even if it is given free, we will not use it. So there is no big problem. So how does it benefit? So what makes it useful, etc., etc. These are two questions you can ask for any technology, any application, which makes it very easy for you to understand the technology and its benefits. If we have the technology in the form of an innovation, then there are three ways to connect it to business, to make money. One is make a physical new product. One is a new service. So most of you would know the difference between a product and services. Product is tangible, physical. There are more differences, but the fundamental difference is it's a physical product which I can touch and feel. Service is not. It's it's made and consumed at the same time. An air hostess giving you a smile when you enter an aircraft, the service is delivered there and consumed at the same point of time. The third one is intellectual property or patents typically. So these are the three ways you can convert your technology into a useful, monetizable way. So I will show you a little quick video and you can think which it is. It's a product or service. So if you see the key benefits of this is manual labor is reduced by 70%. There is something called runners. Okay, runners are the people in a warehouse of an Amazon or a Flipkart who take a particular bill which you and me have generated when we order something, and they fetch those things and put it together in a place. And if you check their walking per day, it runs into kilometers. Okay, so there are solutions now coming up. Now, these solutions, robotics and automation is not a new technology, but it's getting a lot of attention nowadays. But again, my point here is look at the benefits. The benefits is what makes it easier for you and me to understand that, you know what, this technology can be used this way, and hence it becomes beneficial. Now, I talked about innovation in terms of intellectual property. IP stands for intellectual property. So there are basically four: trade secret, copyright, trademark, and patent. Typically, patent are the easiest ones to monetize. And I'll take you quickly through all these four types. Trade secrets are like, for example, Coca-Cola. It's not written down anywhere. It is known only in the family of Coca-Cola. How to mix the formula to make it taste the way it does. Okay, still nobody has been able to find out the secret. So it's their trade secret. Trademarks are, if you see the Apple logo or a way a Domino is written, or the way a Vijaya Bank is written. That is all trademarks. Okay, the brand is protected. Copyrights are like, movies, softwares. Usually it's written copyright, meaning it tells people whom it belongs to. Patents are ones which are like transferable. Suppose the equivalent of patent is a site registration. If you and me own a property in India, we will register the site. Now, when I have it registered in my name, only then I can sell it to someone. And that's the same concept in patents also. It protects the functional, how it works, or form, ornamental, how it looks. The shape of the iPhone, the shape of a Coca-Cola bottle can be patented. Or how the phone works when it starts up, or when how to find my phone feature works in iPhone or an Android, that could also be patented. So let me give a very quick example why technology is not necessary to deliver value. I'm going to take an example of a patent. So those of you can observe carefully. There's a patent in this picture. So there is a young, beautiful lady with a dog, a bag, and a red bag. So the patent is this one. How does it look like? It looks like this. So what does it do? It helps you carry 2 pizzas, any size, a soda bottle, some sauce and napkins, and some branding which you can put. Why would somebody need this? Is because plastic is being banned everywhere, but still you have to take pizzas from your shop to your home or wherever you're going. So instead of using plastic bag, there is a paper bag which is recyclable. Now somebody came up with this idea about a year and a half ago, and he asked for $1.5 million, non-mutually exclusive license. What technology is there? Paper, cardboard, it's an age-old technology, right? But the way it's folded creates value for someone who is willing to pay millions of dollars. That's why I keep telling technology is not the key. The benefits of technology is. And it can be without technology also you can deliver benefits. So don't get into the trap that technology is the key. Yes, it is important if it can deliver a benefit. If it is not necessary, it is not necessary. You don't need to use technology as such. So how can you use technology? So you can use technology to drive top line, which is what the customer can see, or the bottom line, which the company can see. For example, many years ago already, a bank in Australia used facial recognition technology. Now, facial recognition technology is also not new, but how did they use it? When the customer, it was a high-end bank in Australia, when the customer entered the main door of the bank, the cameras detected the customer, and if it was an existing known customer, it would sort whether it's a high net worth individual or a normal customer. And if it was a HNI, high net worth individual customer, the manager's screen would get popped up with a screen that this customer has come with his name and details. And by the time all this happens in a fraction of a second or a couple of seconds, by the time the customer comes to a few steps inside the bank, this manager would walk down and meet him and make him very welcome in the bank and hopefully sell different kinds of products to him. Now, this is application of technology, what the customer can see. What does the company can see in terms of technology? Again, let's go back to robotics and automation. Usually, cars are painted by sprays when it started. So it will consume more paint, extra paints are getting wasted, and sometimes the coating thickness is not even because it's a manual process. But when the robotic process is introduced, the car paint is painted evenly. There is very, very minimal wastage of paint. And also the fumes and the toxicity is not affecting the manual labor. Now, this is not what you can tell a customer when you sell a car. We have a robotic painting technology and I'm going to charge you for it. He doesn't care what technology you use, but he cares that the car looks good. So this is what a company can see or save, right? So both ends of innovation through technology can be applied. Now, one helps you generate revenue. The other helps you reduce cost. So with the top line, you can increase revenue. With the bottom line, you can reduce cost. So you can apply it for top line in terms of new features for your products, new services, new user experience, etc. New business model in the bottom line, new processes, how you procure stuff, materials management, structure, etc., etc. Any company can use technology for any of this, right? Now, innovation is also in every field. It is in medicine, it's in pharma. We are looking at vaccines and fast tracking of vaccines. consumer products, product education, how you use it in transportation, sharing mobility, art, food and restaurant, even politics and thieves. That technology is nothing but how to use a particular product or particular knowledge, right? Why I have written politics and thieves. Politics, you all know, I don't want to talk about. Thieves, if you see the last 2-3 years, there is a new way people steal. They throw an egg on your car if you're driving in a car, and you switch on the wiper, you're gone. Your whole screen is foamed up and you can't see, and you stop and then steal you. So that's a new technology to steal. So people do technology for different things. Clothing, I just saw yesterday a CRM's advertisement at 95% COVID free or something like that. I don't know what it does for COVID, but it protects apparently. It also in every function, customer service, people management, testing, marketing, sales, HR. Marketing user experience is through marketing. Nexa sales showroom is a pure technology application of how to give an experience, right? Now, essence of successful technology using entrepreneurship is then creative problem solving, which is looking at the same thing as everyone else and thinking something different. Today, technology is available to everyone. If you look at how you can find information, if you Google, if you and me Google the same keyword, we get the same results. We don't have to do anything extra. We will get exactly the same thing, but we will not be able to use it if you cannot think or use it differently. And I think that's where the face recognition technology I talked about looked at it differently, right? I talked about context, and this video helps you understand just that. So what did happen just now? Okay. This is what startups go through. They solve a problem which does not exist. The guy who came in the van thinks he has helped this guy on the screen, but actually it's just the opposite. Now, this all happens if you don't understand the concept. Context is very key. You just understand the concept of technology in isolation. And I always give this example that if you don't understand what exactly is the problem, the technology will not help you solve it, right? Let us look at the context of pathology labs. A couple of years ago, if you were to do a blood test or a urine test, we had to go to the pathology lab. Now, if it was an old person, we had to drag them along. And if it was due to, suppose you were to do the blood testing while fasting, then you had to go there and wait and then get the blood test done, then come back home and eat. All this is a hassle both for the person who is old, for example, and the people who have to take them because old people cannot travel themselves. Now, all this has been changed and solved by using a very simple technology, old technology. What is the technology? Which is transportation. So now the guy comes, but they also use an additional technology. They use a small portable cool bag. It's not a fridge exactly. It's a kind of a cool bag to keep your samples intact for X hours. And a very simple technology, but very effective that most of us, unless it's absolutely necessary to go to a pathology lab, we don't go. And it's a boon for many people. And in today's situation, it's even a boon for many patients who are susceptible. So understanding context helps us to find the right technology. Now, how does this come? You might be wondering, where do we do? Our education system has helped us understand ourselves in a way, how to find solutions. We were talking, me and Jyoti and Satish in the beginning. I am from electronics and communication engineering. And those of you from that engineering background, if you are, or if you know someone, ask them this question. When we were to go to the lab to do experiments, the experiment was known, the circuit was known. And all we need to do was to ask the lab assistant to help us give the components, which is also known to him. We don't know. All we need to was to you look at the circuit diagram and put it together. And still it will not work. That's another story. So we were tuned to find solutions to problems. Now, today we are asking ourselves, can we find problems? And that helps us find the right technology. And if it is useful technology based on the benefits of it. How do you get it? Suppose we are used to asking this type of questions. What is 8 plus 8? What is 8 plus 8? Of course, we all know that it is 16. This won't make us think differently. This won't make us become good in technology, right? If we can start asking ourselves slightly differently, what all adds up to 16? Very different question. 16 is still the target, but my way of approach is very different. I can use very different technologies. Suppose your question is, how do I count the number of people in my classroom? Today you all take attendance, I know. But how can I count the number of people and who are there in my classroom? Now, if I ask, how can I do that using the right hand method, I can use during many methods, right? If it's just the number, I can look at the chair and table, I can look at seat sensor, I can look in infrared, I can look at door sensor, we have facial recognition, tens of thousands, hundreds of options come up. And you may choose what you like, but at least you generate options. But if you ask your question, how do I take attendance? Yeah, you will end up with a book. This is where I think to end up with technology, you should have the right question. The right question will unearth the right problem, and the right problem will help us find the right technology and its benefits. Let me illustrate this. Suppose I want to go from point A to point B. Today we cannot go anywhere to anywhere, that's another story. But few weeks ago, few months ago, I had to go from say MS Ramaiah to airport. A is MS Ramaiah College and B is airport. Now there is an orange route, there is a blue route, there is a black route, and there is a green route. How do I select? So today, if you put this in Google Maps, the technology that is available to you is Google Maps. If you put the destination, it will take your current location and it will give you, what does Google Maps give you today? Which route you think? Which route is based on what? Usually, Google Maps is configured to give you the route based on the time. The route which costs you the least time. Of course, it gives you options which you can choose based on congestion or whatever. But these are the only two variables that are available to you today. Now, it could be based on time. It could be based on distance, yes. But it could be based on something else, cost. Maybe the route has too many stops. Maybe it's fastest, but when I stop and start my car, I lose a lot of fuel. So it is cost. I'm taking someone from a hospital who had spine surgery. So I'm not interested in cost. I'm not interested in distance. I'm not interested in time. I'm in no hurry. I want to find a route which is most comfortable, which has almost no potholes. That's not possible in Bangalore. No road humps or strange humps, or which is a smooth drive because the spine is to be just taken care of. It's still tender, just coming out of the hospital. So I need a technology which helps me find a comfortable route, which doesn't exist today, or something else. I don't know, maybe I'm going with someone special and I need the longest route to reach B. I just need more time with that person. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't know the context, you don't know for what you're solving. This is what happens when you go to a big bazaar. As soon as you finish paying, there is somebody who's trying to track you. Who is that person? Who wants to sell you credit card. He or she doesn't know whether you have already a credit card, whether you need a credit card, whether they just want to dump you and you want to avoid them. So it doesn't work. So many, many examples happen this because you're just doing it with the idea of selling something, an idea that you want in your head to be sold. That's where I recommend you to read a book by Zig Ziglar, Z-I-G-Zig, Z-I-G-L-A-R Ziglar, who is considered an authority in terms of selling. He said the best way to sell is not to sell, but to tell. Tell how it helps you. Tell how it benefits you. So same here, if you don't know which variable you are trying to understand, which variable you are trying to solve, you cannot have a way to give which technology serves you best. What happens when you walk into a Chroma or a Reliance Digital? At the main entrance, there are 1 or 2 Dwarpalakas standing, right? What is their job? Their job is to first ask you the question, what are you looking for? Right? If you say a fridge, washing machine, laptop, mobile, they'll guide you to the right place. First filter. So they found out what you're looking for. Second filter. When you reach the laptop section, let's say, he does not show you all the laptops, does he? No. What does he do? He tries to figure out what are you looking for. He asks you what is the idea that you want to use the laptop for: gaming, email, simple surfing, etc., etc., etc. Based on that, they narrow down and then come up with which technology is best for you, right? A heavy RAM and ROM with high GPU, or a simple RAM and ROM which is good for surfing and so on. So the whole idea is, without knowing which variable, we cannot understand which technology, right? Sometimes you may not need a fridge. I took a fridge which has a water dispenser. It's a simple technology, but I needed a technology because I drink cold water. So the whole idea is, I need a technology which helps me. So there is another fridge in my mom's place, because I use ice. They bought a fridge which makes ice. So the technology is ice maker. You don't forget to put water and in an ice tray, but it makes it itself, and it's always there whenever you want it. So technology depends on what you want, and what you want depends on the context. And the context depends on what problem you are trying to solve, which you are facing today. So like I said, remember to ask these two questions. Why? Why do you want this? Let me ask you a question. Suppose you are a consultant, or you are consulting an industry, or you are from an industry where you are consulting to your clients. Suppose you are into construction and building bridges and dams. A customer comes to you and asks, I want to build a bridge in this place. What is the typical answer a consultant or an industry gives today? Typical answer is, yes, we will build the bridge for you. It can cost you this much. It will take you this long, blah, blah. Now, from today, I want you to think differently. Don't give a solution, because you still don't know the problem. Question should be, why do you need a bridge? I need a bridge to cross the river. So what happens if you don't cross? My school is on the other side. So why do you have a problem in crossing the bridge? Is it the water? No, but my bridge is needed only once, 1 month in the whole year, for example. And why is that? Because that's when, due to monsoon, the river is full. Otherwise, I can just cross it because it's hardly a feet. Now you can recommend him a totally different solution because you asked him why and so what. This is what you should do with your students. This is what you should do with your clients. This is what we should do with ourselves before doing anything. I think this makes us understand which technology is useful and why. Okay, this is all I had to share. I would like to spend some time discussing with you the questions that you might have and suggestions that you might have, or comments that you want to make.
Participants can raise their hand if they have any questions to sir.
I see some things in Q&A. Let me stop sharing. So before I move away, so this is my email. I am on LinkedIn as well. Like I said, you can connect with me. I'm going to stop it. Yeah. Okay, I see one question. If I can take it.
Yes, Chandrakala ma'am, you can ask the doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Arun, Jyoti madam.
Yes, sir.
We have to unmute her.
Yes, sir. I'm doing it, sir. So there is a question by Sandesh Shri, sir.
Yeah. So I can read it. Let me see.
Sir.
What if there are people, though not major, find some value for a startup? Should we continue the business or focus on other opportunities? Very good question, Sanjay Shri. I don't know your background. So let me explain to you this way. Suppose your startup makes a product. Let's say it is, just for the sake of discussion, okay, let us say it is useful in Bangalore only, hypothetically. Bangalore has 8 million people. For your business to run, there is certain cost. Your salaries, your rent, the product. If it is a physical product, the cost of making the product, selling it, maintaining it, servicing, etc., all that costs money. So you have a price for your product. Now, if there are only 100 people in Bangalore who want it, will you be able to sustain and grow your business is the first question. Now, you have put it very rightly saying, if there are some people, though not major, who find value, the question is, how big is that population? Okay, the total addressable market, if I may use that word, is all the people who would be interested in using your product. One, you are making a product because it solves something. Let me give you an example, Sandeshri, so that everybody can understand why this is a good question and why you need to understand this. I will not take the name. There was a startup whom we were advising 3 years ago. What they did, what was their product? Their product was digital mirror. What is a digital mirror? Especially the women in the group would appreciate, and of course men also, when you go and buy a cloth, a sari, a dress, etc., usually you want to try in the shop. So to know whether it fits you, whether you like it, etc. And one of the problems is sometimes waiting for trial room queue is big, or you have to try so many that you get tired, etc., etc. What this startup did, they said, hey, this is a problem. And in your words, Sandeshri, they said, there are enough people who find value in our digital mirror. So what is digital mirror? You stand in front of this mirror. It's actually a physical mirror with an electronic frame. And on the electronic frame, you have what is called assets. Assets means it will show you different dresses. You say kurtis, you say shirt, you say trousers, formal, it will show you, sari, whatever. If you select a particular sari, because you're standing in front of the mirror, it will digitize your image and show you in that color of shirt, sari, whatever it is. The problem is, this startup said this is very useful, but they did not sell even one product after 3 years. For a startup, 3 years is like the golden period. If after first year you're not talking to customers, you're in serious danger. If after 3 years you're not making money, you're in definite danger. So people usually get 3 years in an accelerator also, because if you cannot break it in 3 years, you are out of it. There is no future in that line. They've already spent 3 years, maybe 2.5 years into that. What they were not understanding is, people may like it, but they're not paying for it. People are not paying for this product. The store has to pay for this product. Now the store has to find value for this product, not people. So you took the wrong person, put the wrong problem, and found the right solution for it. That's where it's important to figure out how big is your market who are willing to pay for it, not who finds it useful. I don't pay 10 rupees for, the peanuts they sell in outside bus stands and colleges, the hot peanuts. You don't pay 10 rupees if you don't like it, correct? You might have hundreds of rupees, but you don't pay 10 rupees if you don't want to have it. Now that's where exactly what happens is, when users don't want it, they don't pay for it. Now here the problem is like the bank and ATM. The banks buy the ATM machine. They don't use ATM machines. We use ATM machines. Same way, the digital mirror has to be bought by the Nalli Silks, the Shantala Silks, or Marks and Spencer. You and me will use it. So who are we to say we like it or not? The customers, the store evaluates whether the customer likes it or not. They think, can I get more customers and more business because of this? They will invest. So yes, if there are enough people, Lamborghini sells only 4,000 cars a year. 4,000 cars a year, fine. But they make each car theirs is worth 10 cars of another customer. So it's okay. If you make either enough money or you have enough people who will be interested in your product. So there is a question from Anand. Products can satisfy the customer not by the way it's sold, but by the use of the product, correct? But services can satisfy the customer by use of that service and also the way it's sold or served, correct? Here comes the need for emotion, empathy, or charm. So how effective can innovation EI be in service industry? Good point, Anand. The problem is also the solution, and the solution is also the problem in service industry. One service delivered by the same company may be liked by someone, may not be liked by someone. And that's where you are also right, it's emotional, empathy, or charm. Like I told you about the air hostess smile, you may like the smile that she gave, I may find it artificial. So it is not necessary that service is consumed, but it is appreciated. Now, AI or service industry can go as far as your empathy takes you. And that depends on the person whom you're servicing. For example, you can just observe different people respond differently when they don't get what they want. Okay. I was standing in there was no queue. I was the only guy. I was standing in a mall to get a water bottle a couple of years ago. A lady walked in, and the guy who was serving me was turning his back to us and trying to get something from the shelf for me. The lady barged in, and it was a large desk, and she said, I want something. I don't remember what she asked. And the guy who was at the desk was close to it, and he took that and gave it to her and served her first. I was very pissed off. I said, look, I'm waiting here, and you are serving somebody who came later. Now, I don't care whether it was a good or bad service to her, but the way he prioritized and deprioritized me made me dissatisfied customer. Second example, when I was at Airtel 3 months ago, this is a very new example, I had two complaints. One, they had overcharged me for my US trip for the global roaming, and two, that they did not have my extra charges removed, which I didn't have to pay. Two problems. His comment was in the Airtel center, I cannot lodge two complaints in my system. I said, that's your problem. So don't give me. So what I'm trying to say is, service industry itself is a very subjective industry. They cannot be one size fits all service, which people try to do. Now that's where companies like Northwest Airlines or HCL says, I take care of my employees who will take care of my customers. So AI, whatever is, a fool with a tool is still a fool. Any tool that we use should help us do our work better. And yes, innovation can help in every industry, including service industry. Anil CN, how to connect technology with traditional things? I'm not sure what you mean, Anil. Can you unmute Anil while I go to the next question? Will thorough market survey help understand the requirements of customers? Market survey, Dr. Narayan Swamy, has gone beyond survey. People tell you what you ask. Just a moment, Anil. So people tell you what you ask, and if you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. So there are newer methods, Dr. Narayan Swamy, which is about empathy study, which is getting close to what they feel, and even more what they do, not what they say. And I think design thinking is one of those tools that we use. There are many ways to use empathy, is to really understand how they use it. For example, to give you one example, when Oral-B was asked to, Braun was asked to design through their client of theirs, they asked them to design toothbrush for kids. Our response is, when we do a toothbrush for kids, we make the brush smaller and thinner, right? It is opposite. So kids find it easier to hold, which is thicker, because their hands are smaller. So you have to make a brush which is thicker than an adult toothbrush. So yes, you need to go beyond requirements of customers using survey, Dr. Narayan. Yes, Anil, back to you.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, please tell.
Hello. I'm very happy to listen from you. It's a very much informative session it is. But the thing is, the traditional things means, what I mean to say is, so tamarind market, the chili market, floriculture market, these are all the traditional markets. How we people can connect this technology into it?
Excellent. So you said flowers. What are the other two you said?
The flower market,
Flower market. Yes. Thank you.
Tamarind,
yes.
jaggery.
Yes. Now, good that you mentioned tamarind, because when we were kids, we used to take a bunch of tamarind, use the tools at home to make it a paste, put salt, this, and make it a candy. Now, today, they are selling this as a product in shops. So what I mean to say is, when there is a need that is understood, now the pace is different. Okay. The way of living is different. So maybe people still need a Triphala Churna or a flower to be given, but they don't want to do it, or they don't have time to do it. So many people think that traditional things cannot be touched. The way traditional things can be touched, how do you want to give it to customers, and in the way they want to give it? For example, flowers is a specific example which I have spent some time on it. I used to live in Europe where we used to buy flowers every 10 days. Okay. Because we used to keep flowers at home all the time. And usually it comes about 10 days and stuff like that. Now today I cannot do that because it is very difficult for me to find the flowers I need. Now, if I find the flowers I need to change the water and I need to add some things to keep it fresh. Now, if somebody can do this for me, I can pay for it, but my traditional market can be tapped to give new benefits to me. For example, Ayurvedic medicine. If you want to take medicine, for example, 3 mixtures of powders, I have to mix it every day, which takes time, and I don't have time. Today, everybody's problem is time. So if you can solve the time variable, I can even tap into traditional markets.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anil. So Ramesh, sir, to what extent technology can help in business scale up? Example, trading of spices from Bangalore to world. Interesting one, Ramesh. When I was in Walmart in February, just when this COVID was exploding, I was in the Bay Area and Los Angeles. You will not believe, I have pictures of that. They have huge advertisements selling turmeric drink. Okay, turmeric drink, which is nothing. What we were trying to say is to put haldi and arshna powder in milk and drink every day. Now, why is that? Because the benefit of that is known to people now. So yes, technology can be used to find customers, to reach customers, at the same time to help them understand the benefit of it. Why did yoga reach West so far is you don't need equipment. You don't need to go anywhere. It comes with you. So the way you explain a technology and the benefits makes the technology more useful, not the technology by itself per se. It can be used for business scale up that way, because once people find it useful, they will go for it. Dr. CG, most of them get confused with entrepreneurship and self-employed. Can you provide clarity here? Yeah, so if you watch my YouTube channel, I did a program on employee versus entrepreneurship. Self-employed is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is where you give employment to more people. Self-employment is where you keep yourself occupied like a consultant. So the difference is where you start something new, you put a risk, you take a risk, you put your money, time, effort into it and start an organization which you want to become big. Every organization started small, whether it's a Walmart, whether it's a Amazon, whether it's an Infosys. So entrepreneurship is where you take a venture and make it a business, hopefully one day. Self-employed is where you are consultant, where you offer your expertise to someone. Thank you, Narayan Swami. Ramesh, again, what is your advice for a businessman in determining what technology he should use for his business growth? Like I said, it depends on what you want to achieve. So if you want to count the number of people in a room, I can use infrared, I can use Bluetooth, I can use facial recognition, I can use thermal map. I want to know how much I want to know, right? For example, if I'm an event management, I just need to know how many people are there. I don't care who is there. But if I'm a FBI or a CBI building, I want to know who is in the building or in a hotel. So depending on what you want to have, you need to decide on which technology you need to use. Sanjay Shri, how much survey response is required to take a startup decision? Can you speak about types of survey and to increase the response rate? Response rate, I will start first, is very tricky. Take yourself, Sanjay Shri, as an example. I get a lot of feedbacks to be filled, even today. This event also has a feedback form. How many of us actually want to fill it? And how many actually fill it with sincerity? We don't. Because if you remember the value, what's in it for me? Why should I fill it? What do I get? Right? Unless they are your good friend, you don't do anything. Whether it's a PhD survey or it's a feedback survey of this program. If I challenge Jyoti and Satish and Ravindra today, take out the clause for my session that even without feedback, you will get certificate. Because there is a clause I read that without feedback, you won't get certificate. How many of you will give feedback? Why have they put it here? Because people don't give feedback because there is nothing in it for them. So when you want to increase response rate, either you want to make them responsible for something, feel good about something, tell them what they're contributing to, and then the response rate will go up. Now, as far as how many is concerned, it all depends. 100 is a minimum to get a sense. But now the 100 can come from anyone. The 100 from the potential customers. If I'm trying to do a startup for helmets, a helmet that keeps my head cool, don't ask my father and mother. They don't drive. Ask the 100 of them should be from people who drive day in and day out. Now, again, they are not the people who drive in Ooty or Kodaikanal. They are the people who drive in Calcutta, Chennai, or Mumbai. That is how you smartly decide who should respond to your survey, Sandeshri. Hope it answers. Manjunath, there are most advanced products available today like shampoo and toothpaste, but earlier generation people had better hair and teeth from the one today. What is the contribution of innovation to society? Today, innovation and product are not connected in many companies. A company culture is what is needed to give value to society. Take Johnson & Johnson. Their baby powder is suspect today. Their baby powder is under scrutiny today. They had a huge scam a couple of years ago. It's a big case study. You can look it up. So you can very easily mislead people. That is not at all a problem today. In fact, I was just watching something called Brain Games. You can also watch it on television. I don't know which channel it is. How people lure you to buy products which you don't need. There's a whole science behind how to make your decisions the way they want you to decide, not the way it is good for you. Okay. Otherwise, when there is a CSR activity, there is no need to advertise that, company X gave this money to this slum. Just give it. Why you have to advertise? You don't need to advertise, because the agenda behind it is to sell you something that is a good company. You should buy products from that. Every company is a suspect to me, unless you understand what is their culture. So innovation is not the problem here. The company who is using innovation is the problem. Dr. Narayan Swami, again, what do you suggest management faculty members to improve industry interaction? Again, I gave another session, which I think it's on my YouTube channel. Please watch it. It is, you need to work with, since you have asked it, you need to, as management faculty members, you need to work with industry. Now I'll tell you how. Industry works with users. Okay, industry is very close to the users that they serve. But academia is not close to industry because they're not close to the users of the industry. Let me give an example. We talked about paste in the previous question. So if you can find out what the users of toothpaste and shampoo want, and then you can approach Hindustan Unilever, that you have understood a little bit more about their users, and hence that industry should talk to academia. Don't you think they will talk to you with respect? Today, sorry to say, but I am in many forums for industry academia collaboration. Again, I'm not going to take name. There was a big institute where I was a part of it last year, about the same time, July, August. The first question the faculty member from the academia asked was, how can we get a seat at the table with industry? Usually I'm not the first to respond, but I did that day. I told him, you don't get a seat because you ask for a seat. Okay, you don't demand a seat, you command a seat. You tell us what the industry should do. They will invite you with a red carpet to the table. You don't have to fight for it. Now, what academia does, it solve problems when the industry gives problems. Dr. Narayan Swami and everybody else who is in faculty and management who are intending to do this, you find out problems that the industry should solve and also suggest a solution. I can take a challenge which industry will not listen to you. Okay. Anonymous attendee, when we compare innovation being used in Korea and USA, they are very technologically innovative and advanced in the case of implementation and usage. We as Indians, when is the predicted period that we can reach the same level as them? Innovation is dependent on needs, I said, and needs also, if you see Maslow's theory, I'm not a big fan of it, but it works here. The needs also advance. So when your advanced need is quality, you look at what happens in Korea and USA and you appreciate it. Okay, when your needs are basic, you need basic innovation. Okay, and a clean toilet is a basic innovation that we needed, the bio toilet that we use in parks, right? So as your needs grow up, which also depends on as a developing country or a developed country, you go up the hierarchy of needs, and hence more sophisticated innovations would be needed as well there. Narendra, make in India or made in India, which all will be more beneficial to our, what is the difference, Narendra? I didn't get it. While we wait for you, can you tell me, I will just type it here in a moment. Narayan Swami of my YouTube channel. Ramesh, sir, how a startup can take advantage of technology to foster growth of traditional business like restaurant business? See, restaurant business or any business, in fact, is a very interesting topic. Arthur Rock. Arthur Rock is the person who invested when Apple was nothing, when Teledyne was nothing. Okay, Intel was nothing. When they were startups, he invested in it. What was his rule? He was the dada of investment for startups even before startup became a hype. He said, if there is something which changes the way people live or changes the way people work. So I repeat, Arthur Rock said, if there is a technology which helps people live better or work better, it's a good business to be in. So if you can find a business which will help people eat better and hence live better or work better because they can get what they want better, it's the best way to start. Then you can use technology. So today Swiggy works not because you can order online, because internet speeds are there. Swiggy works because people don't have time to go and eat. Please understand the actual variable there. I don't have time. I'm coming home late from work. I don't have energy to get dressed again and go out and eat and come back. I just want to relax and eat at home. So I want somebody to deliver food at home. Now, food at home is the problem that they solve using technology of easily. That's how it works, Ramesh. What is your advice for startups who wish to scale up traditional business from India to the world? Like I said, you cannot sell unless you tell the benefits. And if the benefits are real, you will be able to find a way to tell. Ramesh, listen to Zig Ziglar, who is the dada of selling. You will learn much more. Avinash, how to influence the idea of entrepreneurship in the young minds? I want to say, Avinash, that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And it's not necessary for everyone to be entrepreneur. I mean, let me put it extreme way. If everybody is entrepreneur, who works for the entrepreneurs, right? So it is not necessary. It's a little bit hyped up today that everybody should be an entrepreneur. It is not. It needs a certain kind of temperament. It needs entrepreneurship. I have tried to be a quarter entrepreneur, half entrepreneur, now a full entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a 24/7 job. My previous job was a vice president job. So people shouted at me, calling me an idiot. Who would leave a luxurious, cushiony job where I get everything and become an entrepreneur? I had to buy my first laptop. In my entire career, I never bought a laptop because every company that I worked for gave me one. So entrepreneurship is not meant for everyone. But what you can tell the young minds is how to create something, how to create an impact. Today, like I said, intrapreneurship is what companies are pursuing. So entrepreneurship, if it's a 1 to 10 scale of risk, if it is about 8 to 10, intrapreneurship scales are 6 to 8. And if you want to be employee, again, it's my video that I will suggest you to watch is, some people are meant to be employees. They like a very low risk job, the low risk life. That's okay. Don't put them under pressure to become entrepreneurs. But if there are people who are taking high risk, they'll be very dissatisfied with the routine things. They want new challenges every day. They can be mentored to be entrepreneurs. So Narendra, are we only focused to make in India? Why can't we go for made in India products too? See, made in India products, again, for example, I was seeing yesterday, in India, it's a very typical problem of mosquito repellents. It's a very made in India product. Or if you see the water can, I buy water cans at home, like the Bisleri or something. And I need to, because I'm the only guy who can lift it. I'm the only guy to put it in the water tap. So I was looking for products because it's a very typical Indian problem. There is a manual one which I bought, it didn't work. Now, problem with many of the reputation of made in India is quality. Because we approach it to be cheap from day one, we compromise on quality so much that it doesn't work. What is the point of me buying a 200 rupees manual tap when it doesn't work after 2 months, right? Now that reputation bites into the ability to make a success out of reputation for Make in India. Ramesh, what is your advice for startups who wish to scale up? Yeah, like I told you. So Pooja, it is not that varieties have caused more chaos than solving consumers' problem as well as issue for firms. How can I come up with USPs when the benefits are all same, specifically when there are big players? And very good question, Pooja. So conjoint analysis is one of the more traditional famous methods, which I still believe does a good job. Conjoint analysis, which will help you decide which product is meant for what. Choice is not always a good thing. A lot of researchers show that more information, more inputs does not lead to a better decision or a better choice. In fact, it's the opposite. So it is important to understand that you are filling what is called a gap in the market or solving a disadvantage in the current market. Let me give an example. There was a startup which did 24 hours daycare, because the gap in the market was, which none of the big names solved, was there were couples who were working night shift, and where were they leaving the kids? They didn't have a place. So there were many people who were not from Bangalore. They didn't have a family system to support them. So they came up with a startup idea for 24-hour daycare. So that's how they created a new market for themselves. So anything left, Jyoti?
No, sir, I think we can stop the Q&A session now.
Sure.
Good evening to all of you. I would like to take the pleasure of returning my thanks to Dr. Kaushik, sir, for really enlightening this session by sharing his vast experience. Sir, you have started the session by stressing on the importance of technology in business, and you have made all of us to understand the significance of fixing an end in mind, and made us to declare that the end must be the benefit which comes from the application of the technology. Sir, your simple and eloquent explanation about the context of the technology in olden and modern era through interesting videos and simple pictures were really captivating. So through your session, our takeaway is we have to look at the benefit of technology and not the technology. So once again, I extend my warm regards and thanks for delivering such a mind-blowing session. In addition to this, I would like to extend my thanks to all the participants and my faculty team for being a part of this session. And I request all the participants to re-log in with the same joining ID at 6:55 p.m. again. And anything from your side, sir?
No, I thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Mr.
It's
Ravindra.
a pleasure,
Satish.
sir.
Sir, thank you very
And-
much. It was highly engaging, and it has actually set up a tone for our program. So thank you so much.
It's
Thank
good
you
to
very much,
see you
sir.
all after a long time. I would hope we can meet in person soon.
Yes, sir,
Sure,
definitely, sir.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir. Sure,
And
sir.
we wish to hear more from you, sir.
Thank you. Sure, sure. And I'll just type my, somebody asked for the YouTube channel. I'm looking at myself because I don't use it myself. So I'll just type it in the chat box once you are logged off. I hope they all can see it.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
sir.
so much,
Good
sir.
day. Thanks. Good day.